Thank you, Sarah. That was Sarah Adam talking to us about the social impact of the standard gauge railway line so far. Now, unemployment in Kenya among the youth has widely been singled out as a potential source of political and economic instability. However, major infrastructure projects such as the standard gauge railway flips the script and changes all this, showing the critical role infrastructure development plays in job creation and development of skills for the youth, whom otherwise would lack the means and opportunity to acquire gainful employment. Madaraka features one such story of a young entrepreneur, Esther Wanjiku, in our continuing series, The Madaraka Express.
The Mombasa-Nairobi Standard Gauge Railway is the biggest infrastructure project in Kenya since independence. The new railway line is expected to shorten passenger travel time from Mombasa to Nairobi from more than 10 hours to just over 4 hours. But the project goes further than that, trickling down to those who were once jobless. Before joining the standard gauge railway construction as a site supervisor in Section 1 Mombasa, Esther Wanjiku was a fresh civil engineering graduate, ready and eager to work. Her efforts were, however, frustrated with the scarcity of jobs at the time, a story far too many Kenyan youths can relate to.
It's hard not just for civil engineers, it's hard for everyone. I think in our country we have so many graduates, but it's very hard to find a job. And especially now being a lady in an industry that is known to be male-dominated, it's not easy.
Having chosen engineering as her university major, for Esther, being employed at the construction site was a dream come true.
Everyone was talking about how the government is going to build a new railway that is going to be better and faster than the old railway. That it's going to bring a lot of change and a lot of development.
I'm going to miss you so much.
But it wasn't easy. 3 years ago, Esther said her goodbyes and packed her bags, leaving her family behind.
See you.
Then, the real work began.
I think in the beginning there was a lot of work because first of all, when you get here in the morning, you have to organize the workers, that is the drivers, the labor. You have to organize the machinery, the kind of work they have to do.
As a recent graduate, Wanjiku lacked on-site experience. Her understanding of specifications and technical requirements was not yet to scratch. She was, however, hard-working and down-to-earth.
As a recent graduate, Wanjiku lacked on-site experience. She worked side by side with her Chinese counterparts, engaging in skill development programs to sharpen her knowledge, arming herself with the necessary specifications and technical requirements needed for the job.
I've been able to discover a lot about myself. I've discovered some ability that before I didn't know I had.
Today, Wanjiku is one of the Kenyans who have gotten a job working for the standard gauge railway after gaining skills transfer. She joins many other Kenyans who today can say thanks to the SGR, they are able to put food on the table and take care of themselves. The 327 billion project contract between Kenya and China stipulated that for every Chinese employed to work on the site, 10 Kenyans would be taken up, resulting to the employment of over 30,000 Kenyans since the launch of its construction in November 2013. The SGR project will go down in history books as the country's biggest infrastructure project ever. But for people like Esther Wanjiku, it's more than that. It's a new dawn, a new opportunity, touching their lives forever. Maya Hayakawa, K24 Business.
Well, that was Maya talking to us about the technology transfer and how that has impacted on the lives of Kenyans. And I just want us to get some news here as far as the fares are concerned. That is how much it will cost you to move around. It's 700 shillings for the economy class. We have 3,000 shillings for first class passenger services. That is Mombasa to Nairobi and of course vice versa. We have stations in Mombasa, Mariakani. We also have another in Miasenyi, that is before Voi, and also in Voi. We also have Mtito Andei, Kibwezi, Emali, Athi River, and Nairobi. Now, from Mombasa to Mariakani, it will cost you 50 shillings. From Mombasa to Miasenyi, 130 shillings. From Mombasa to Voi, 210. From Voi to Mtito 370 shillings. From Mombasa to Kibwezi, that is 440 shillings. And from Mombasa to Emali, 530. From Mombasa to Athi River, 690. That is Athi River in Nairobi, in Machakos County, I beg your pardon. And of course, from Mombasa to Nairobi, 700 shillings. That is for the economy class. And we'll give you the first class prices in as far as transportation from Mombasa to Mariakani is concerned. 140 shillings, you get to travel first class. And to Miasenyi, Miasenyi is a town between Mariakani and Voi. In your first class service, it will cost you 560 shillings from Mombasa to Miasenyi. From Mombasa to Voi, 880 shillings. That is first class. And from Mombasa to Mtito Andei, that is 1,000 shillings, 520. From Mombasa to Kibwezi, 1,800 shillings. And from Mombasa to Emali, first class, 2,230. From Mombasa to Athi River in Machakos County, 2,890. And of course, from Mombasa to the Nairobi terminus in Syokimau is 300,000 shillings. We'll keep you posted and keep updating you on those particular prices. But that is about the Madaraka Express in as far as the pricing is concerned. Very interesting fares, don't you think, Lucy? 50 shillings from Mombasa to Mariakani.
Interesting. I can't believe this. I go back those days when I used to use the train.
The Lunatic Express.
Yeah, it was much cheaper. And from Eldoret, Nakuru, it was beautiful. I mean, I'm so nostalgic. I sit down and I remember what happened. Why did it stop? So really, this is something very, very important. I have seen several people missing in meetings because of the costs of the transportation. We all know how transportation adds the prices of commodities. That's one of the reasons why we can be competitive. At the same time, how I saw yesterday in one interview, the CES for industrialization talking about the ease of doing business, which we are always talking about, and what it means to us when they were launching the transportation, the airport, reloading from there. He did mention about us, we're going to be able to save 30 billion. 30 billion is a lot of money every year. So this is money we're going to take to our small businesses. So to me, I'm seeing, no, just enjoying my ride. I'm missing, I don't think I'll ever go in a plane anymore. If the first class is going to be 3,000, then that's where I'm going to go all the time. And frankly speaking, this is something we need to enjoy. It doesn't matter who, as a Kenyan, I just want to enjoy this time. I just want to feel proud of my country. And I just want us to use it to the maximum. Let's do business. This is a priority. This is key to us right now. Nothing else is coming in my nothing else.
Yeah.
It's just enjoy, do your business, and everything else will progress.
Now, I just want to give you some interesting facts right here in as far as the top 5 giants in global giants in high-speed rail networks, because that is where Kenya is headed. We heard the Transport Secretary tell us, save for the fact that we do not have enough power to power a bullet train, that is the next target. Once we have enough generation or capacity, then we'll be able to move to the next level. Now, the top 5 are Germany, China, Spain, Japan, and France. And an interesting fact here, in Japan, Japan is also called the land of the rising sun. It did invent the high-speed rail, that was the first bullet train, that it called Shinkansen. Shinkansen is, in English, is new trunk line. That was in 1964. Can you imagine, in 1964, just a year after our independence, Japan were already doing the bullet train.
And this is where we are now. That's a story for Africa.
Interesting. And then we also have China. China has been building high-speed railway at a furious pace, they say, from 2007. And now boasts of the world's largest network with cumulatively 9,356 kilometers.
Wow.
And that is of HSR track. That is, of course, high-speed railway. That is the one that uses electricity. And then we also have, of course, the SGR, which is also heavily used in China. And the world, that is including the longest line. The longest line is from Beijing to Guangzhou. That is 2,298 kilometers. And it has no plans of stopping or, taking a break in as far as that is concerned. And let's just talk about the impact of economic transformation, infrastructural transformation for a nation, just even beyond supporting the agriculture sector, which is critically Kenya's economic mainstay. What, in your view, is your fear in as far as such transformation in infrastructure development is concerned?
First let me say the positive thing. I've been feeling this pride, seeing our youth, doing this technical work, and the girls driving. This has been such a moment of joy, moment of pride for the women, seeing our girls on the wheel. But definitely we know that the people who are going to suffer, our drivers for the trucks, but I guess the different ways of skinning a cat. I think they need to understand how can they now join in this. Times are changing. I remember the day when you were told about switching off from this old technology to digital. The media were not seeing the opportunity at that time. Today, you've grabbed these opportunities. It's about going with the times. Now you're just telling us about how the kilometers of the high bullet trains in China, and we are still here. So I can imagine what is going to happen. There's so much taking place. There's a lot happening in the world. There's a lot of transformation. So you better pick up ourselves. You must be on it. Even me, I'm saying I'm on it right now. You have to be on the speed. You must ensure that you understand where are the trends, and you have to capture those moments. So this is what I'm gonna tell to our many trucks driver. There are other opportunities, and maybe even in investing, in being shareholders in the Kenya Railway. Who knows how much you'll be able to get the returns. At the same time, there are other things that can still be done. But I'm also fearing any interference on this, because, this is a huge investment. We need to really think about it, that this must work. I can imagine.
Let me just cut you short. Do you support the president's stand on making it a capital offense to vandalize the railway and issuing a promise for a death penalty for anyone found culpable?
Do you want to hear what I have to say? Frankly speaking, I can see where he's coming from. I can see how he's feeling and how passionate he is. But that's too hard. I'm sorry, that's my feeling. But again, I understand how he feels and how this is so important to him. But death penalty, it's a bit too hard. Yeah.
That's your thought. However, in view of what we're talking about, the special economic zones, and I just saw someone texted me and they're wondering, they want to understand more about the SEZ. What is it and how is it going to impact them at county levels?
Let me tell you, and I'm happy you're asking that question because as I mentioned earlier on, there's a problem we have. Lack of clear dissemination of information. This is one of the agenda of this government. setting aside the special economic zones. And from the onset, a number of us were involved in this discussion. You know, initially, we only had the EPZ. The EPZ is where people have just been exporting and not enjoying those duty-free by exporting, and whereas the special economic zones, you're going to enjoy those duties, minimized duties, and then you can sell locally and also export. And the one good thing about the special economic zones, they're going along this SGR. And we look at, for instance, what is going to happen in Taita. This has been set aside for that. From all the way from Malindi, we are having all these special economic zones. And as I mentioned earlier on, it's about clustering and ensuring my small businesses are getting all the support that they require. You know, I say again and again, you are not going to transform any country, any nation in this world if you don't look at those small people here, those small businesses. This is where, and that is why this special economic zone is very important. Yes.
Now, you talked about the importance and just how much you're involved from the word go. We want to understand, particularly for the agricultural sector, the Mamba Boga in the village, probably they have capacity to grow even a bigger acreage of say sukuma wiki or any form of vegetables or onions or tomatoes. And they're probably constrained by the fact that there is no direct market access, because then how will they know that someone in Mombasa really needs this service? Do we have any plans or any forms of empowerment programs, particularly through the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to be able to reach out to these people and to tell them, hey, you need to do this, we'll transport this, or we connect you to the right market. We now have the SGR, we'll transport it to Nairobi and we'll be able to move faster to a different destination.
I'm very happy you have talked about Kenya National Chambers. You can see clearly the role of Kenya National Chambers. And that's the one thing I'm very happy about Kenya National Chambers, being everywhere in the counties, represented everywhere in the counties. One thing I want to mention here, that in the very near future, we're not going to have as many bogas as we thought. And that's why I'm saying we are going to move away from agriculture to agribusiness. And the agribusiness, and that's why these special economic zones are very important. Why is this? Because with the industrialization, we'll see a lot of movement. We'll see people moving away from just planting and producing, but we'll see many people being employed to add value. And let me tell you one thing, as you mentioned about how will people know where the markets are. Do you know, up to date, there's a lot of information in this country about markets. When you talk about EPC, Export Promotion Council, if you go to Export Promotion Council, you're going to find out where the markets for exports are. The one good thing about special economic zones, once you cluster these many traders, and I'm saying you're going to see a lot of movement from farming to industrialization, where they're going to add value, then that is where the information is going to be shared. That's why we are talking of special economic zones. That's why information is shared. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lucy. I'm speaking to Lucy Mushoki. Lucy is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Agricultural Agribusiness and Agro-Industry Alliance, and she's also the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce Chair of Agricultural Sector and a Director at the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. That is a state parastatal. Now, we'll be getting back to her shortly, but right about now, I want us to cross over to Voi, where Mercy Milanoi is standing by. And Mercy, bring us to speed on what is happening. Has the president arrived? How far are we expecting him? How long from now if he has not arrived yet?
Thank you, Mudibo. Yes, we are still in Voi, and from the pictures you can see a lot of celebrations still ongoing. And we are inside the station where we are waiting for the president to come and officially launch this particular station. He's a few minutes away. Some of our colleagues are already outside waiting for him. But even as we wait for the president to come and launch this particular station, we'd like to take you through, give you an experience on how things are when you visit this particular station when you're traveling. And of course, first things first, security is quite key. They have to check everything that you're carrying in your bag. This particular machine scrutinizes everything in your bag. You can even see microphones in there. And of course, this is just to ensure that the security, your security and the security of the station is well catered for. And this particular area that we are in is basically the waiting area, where as a passenger, you can be able to wait for your particular train. There are wonderful seats across the hall. You can have a seat and of course wait for your particular train. On the far left, there is the passenger notice, where you're given everything that you need to know. From prohibited items to the things you need to carry, of course, no metals, no guns and all. And of course, here is, you can be able to wait. There are restrooms, there are facilities that you can be able to use while you're waiting for your train. Right behind me is a board that has the information of your particular train. There's the train number, final station, where you're departing to, and as of now, the passengers to train number K112 from Nairobi to Voi has been cancelled for the large activities. And of course, normal activities are expected to resume once the president officially launches all the stations. That is this one, the ones that are still ahead, Mtwande, Syokimau, and Athi River. So this particular station, whether you are on transit from Voi to Mombasa or from Voi to Nairobi, you'll be able to wait here, and of course it will just take a few minutes. Then you can be able to get on to your train and continue with your journey. Also on the far left, the door written security. If you have any concerns as for any lost items, or if you feel like your safety is not assured of, you can be able to visit that particular door, that particular office, and everything security can be looked into. Considering that also passengers carry a lot of luggage, and of course it's just like an airport. If there are any suspicions with your luggage, everything will be able to be sorted from there. So for now, we're simply waiting for the president to come and officially launch and of course open this particular train station. We also have passengers who are waiting to come and board their trains. So they'll have to wait until this particular train station is launched, so that they can be able to walk through like the way I am outside, and of course wait for their particular train. So actually here is where you will be standing, and once the train comes, you can be able to board your train. I'll just go through this tape together with my cameraman. Yes. So once your train number has been called, you walk outside, and then you can be able to wait for your train. There's a yellow tape particularly here that you're not supposed to step on. It's simply for your safety, so that once the train comes, since it's fast, you're not able, it doesn't hurt you or anything of the sort. So the president is expected to arrive here in a very few minutes, and of course we'll be waiting for him right outside here for him to come and officially open the doors to this station. As I said before, the community around is quite excited. They're very optimistic, and they have very high expectations that this particular station will be able to transform their lives through job opportunities, and even for investors who will be eyeing to this area, whether it's in real estate, retailers. You know, once there's a way for transit, then a lot of opportunities always open up as far as to cater for the needs of the travelers. So we are here in the Voi station waiting for the president, and of course where I'm standing, he will be here, and of course to officially open this station and open the doors for the public to travel from Voi to different parts of the country using the SGR train. Mudibo.
Mercy, thank you very much. That was a very interesting walkthrough, and I wish we could swap places. Unfortunately, I'm in Nairobi or in Voi. But I'm just wondering, could you please take us back to the boarding area so we can see the processes that one has to go through if you want to get your boarding pass, if you want to make your payments, so we can get the real picture of what is happening on the ground. And also quite a number of uniformed officers. I believe those are supposed to be stewards. Would like to hear from them what is the experience so far, how is the expectation?
Okay. For the crew, we'll speak to them a little later. But for now, as I said before you actually step outside those particular doors, there's the X-axis before you actually step out. For you to step out, you actually need a ticket. And some of these tickets, you can actually access them online. And once you buy your ticket, you come to the station, it's validated, you swipe through the particular machines there, and you're able to pass through and, of course, get to come and board your train to go to wherever you're going, whether it's Nairobi or Mombasa. I will get back to you in a few minutes. We'll be able to speak with the whole crew who are still getting things ready for the president to come. We've been told he'll be here in a few minutes. So it's simply last minute touches for the crew, and then they'll be able to speak to us once they're finished with that last minute touches for them as they get ready for the president. Zawadi.
Well, thank you very much, Mercy, for that interesting outlook. And you mentioned the president is expected in a few minutes. Do you have an idea of exactly how long from now the president's train will be checking in?
We've been told that he's already left Mariakani, and from the crew here, we've been told that the train will take approximately 40 minutes or less to get here. So since he left around 10-15 minutes ago, we are expecting him here in around 20 minutes. He'll be here with us.
Well, thank you very much, Mercy. We hope to join you again immediately the president's train checks in. Now, that was Mercy. Mercy was coming to us live from Voi and giving us an update of how the travel experience is going to be like. A very interesting concept right there in as far as the transportation of the SGR passenger train is concerned. And I'm just trying to get hold again of the fares that I was talking about, and there we go. I would just like to read them out to you again if you're joining us right now. It is now official that 700 shillings is what will cost you if you're going to Mombasa from Nairobi or vice versa on the economy class, and the fares have been split in accordance to the 7 railway stations across Kenya, and we'll be getting to you the experience, and my director she'll be firing that up shortly. The train moving in the studio, we'll bring it to you, by the way, so stay tuned, and we'll give you details of that experience in a short while. Once that is up, I will let you know. And yes, we can shortly be able to see that. And those are the stations on your screen. We have Mombasa all the way to Mariakani. From Mariakani, we have Miasenyi. From Miasenyi, the next stop is Voi, and then Mtito Andei, Kibwezi, Emali, and also at the river before we disembark, or before you disembark in Nairobi. Now, these are the fares for the economy class. From Mombasa to Mariakani, it is 50 shillings for the economy class. From Mombasa to Miasenyi, Miasenyi is a town between Voi and Mariakani, and that will cost you 130 shillings. From Mombasa to Voi, just 210 shillings. Did you know, by the way, that if you are using public transport, in as far as road transport is concerned, you'll pay close to 500 shillings from Voi to Mombasa, but it's now going to cost 210 shillings only on the economy class. And then Mtito Andei from Mombasa is 370 shillings. Kibwezi from Mombasa is 440 shillings only. And then from Mombasa to Emali, Emali is the town that will connect you to Oloitoktok if you're going to Oloitoktok, or that is the Oloitoktok border with Tanzania. That is 530 shillings. Then it's 690 shillings from Mombasa to Athi River in Machakos County. And finally, 700 shillings from Mombasa to Nairobi. That is the Nairobi terminus that is right at Syokimau along Mombasa Road. Now, fares for the first class. The first class train will cost you 140 shillings only from Mombasa to Mariakani. And then from Mariakani, that is from Mombasa to Miasenyi. Miasenyi, again, a town between Mariakani and Voi, is 560 shillings. From Mombasa to Voi on the first class, carrier, 880, that is the SGR train. Then from Mombasa to Mtito and Day, 1,520 shillings, that is 1,520 shillings. Then Mombasa to Kibwezi, we have a fare of 1,000, I beg your pardon, 1,000 shillings, 800. 1,800 shillings, that is in the first class. And of course, through to Emali, we have a fare of 2,230 shillings. From Mombasa to Athi River, 2,890 shillings. Then Mombasa to Nairobi, that is in Syokimau, which is currently the area you will disembark, is 3,000 shillings. It is not yet clear if the railway service is going to take care of your transportation from Syokimau to the central business district. But so far as that is concerned, that is how much it will cost you. And our SGR train just left the studio. Now time again to have a feel of exactly the other stories that we had lined up for you earlier in the day. And this has been a series we have been following up for you through the week. Now we want to give you a comparison of the Lunatic Express and the current Madaraka Express. And Faisal Ahmed took a ride and shares his experience.
Once in a while, a major spectacle happens that many never live to see again and whose tales will never be told for years to come. One such occurrence is about to be witnessed in the country as a century-old railway line gets replaced with a new one. This feels like the first time when cell phones were being introduced into the country. We were used to the old landline phones that were analog. But here comes the new standard gauge railway, which signifies the revolution of Kenyan railway. The standard gauge railway, Kenya's most expensive project since independence and one which is set to revolutionize transport in the country. The price tag is bigger than that of the economy of Madagascar. The project promises to deliver a lot, key among them cutting down travel time between Mombasa and Nairobi to just 4 hours compared to the Lunatic's 20-hour journey. To fully document the spectacles in the annals of history, I decided to take one last ride aboard the old, tired, dilapidated Lunatic Express. I left Mombasa a few minutes past 7 p.m. ready to tackle one of the longest journeys I have ever taken. The stewardesses were kind enough to serve us with dinner before we tucked in for the night.
It's been a very long 4.5 hours since we left Mombasa. Right now we are in the middle of nowhere, but let's see when the sun rises where we'll be at.
"12 hours after starting our journey and yet to reach our final destination in Nairobi, by the time we were getting to our destination, we had spent 20 hours traveling. Fast forward to the historic event about to unfold before our eyes in less than 1 week from now. Besides the rail track and the wagons, the station's architecture is a work of beauty. For your first visit at the Mombasa station, you would be forgiven if you thought that you were in an international airport. Each station between Nairobi and Mombasa are themed differently, all 9 of them. Now this one in Mombasa specifically shows a drop of water going into a puddle of water and the waves that are radiating from that. All 8 stations have a different architectural design symbolizing something unique in the locality. Call this one the Game Changer. Faisal Ahmed, K24, Business.
Well, that was Faisal's experience, looking really funny in the Lunatic Express. We hope you'll bring us some more experience in the SGR train. Now, just before we take our commercial break, I would just like to again bring to us Lucy. Probably as we wind up, what are some of the things that you would like to probably share in as far as the sector that you represent is concerned, and how the players in the sector can take advantage of the opportunities that are now right in our eyes?
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to tell my members, I'm also an organization with membership, and also with the Kenya National Chambers, our traders. I want to really stress the importance of them taking advantage and taking this opportunity to be able to see how they can be able to use it to their benefit. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. As I mentioned, we have taken off. Time has come for all of us here to accept that changes are taking place. Time has come for all of us to know that this railway is for all of us. It doesn't matter where you come from, it is meant for all of us. As I mentioned earlier, you have seen clearly there are stations which have been set aside for special economical zones. I would like everybody to start understanding what is these special economical zones and what it means for them. And lastly, as you heard the president saying about this criminal, I want to stress the importance of all of us safeguarding our own investment, because it's all of us who will pay for this. So we need to come and safeguard what is ours. It is all our money. So that's my take, that we all need to take care of our investment, and let's take advantage of this great opportunity, and let's trade, 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 trade.
Thank you very much. That was Lucy Mshoki. We appreciate you for your time and for coming by. And we hope to have this conversation going again in the next couple of days, and of course, particularly today. Lucy is the Chief Executive Officer of the Agribusiness and Agro-Industry Alliance, that is the KAAA, and also the director at the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority, which we like to call MSEA, and also the chair of the agricultural sector at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, heavily representing the agricultural sector in this debate. And we have had that perspective, and we'll be getting more details later on in the afternoon. We expect to keep track of the travel by the president. I understand our reporter, Maya Hayakawa, has just joined in with the president in the train carrying the president, and therefore we'll be getting the updates live coming your way during our News at 1 with Ian Wafula shortly. And of course, taking us through later on in the day will be Richard Kagoy, who will give us later updates in the afternoon. We also be keeping you or keeping track of Franklin Masharia. We saw him earlier on in the cabin that had at least 20 journalists in the first train. There are two trains that departed Mombasa at different times, one an hour or so earlier than the president's train, and they are now probably in Voi or past Voi because the president should be in Voi in no time, about 15 minutes from now, and we'll give you a live update of the president's speech right there, because he is expected to address members of public before proceeding to Mutito Day. It is now time to have a commercial break. When we return, Ian Wafula will bring you the news at 1.